One of the most sobering truths I've ever heard is this: time doesn't wait for anybody. And the strange part is, we rarely realize how true that is until it's already too late. When you're young, it feels like you've got all the time in the world. Days stretch out like endless highways. You tell yourself, I'll get to it tomorrow. I'll say it later. I'll chase that dream someday. But the thing no one really warns you about is how quietly time slips by. Not with a bang, not with a siren, just gone. You're watching Stoic Power Lab, your daily dose of timeless Stoic wisdom. Point one moment you're in high school, and the next, you're staring at your reflection wondering, how did I get here so fast? We live with this illusion that we have more time, that we'll always have more chances, more conversations, more mornings to wake up and choose differently. But life doesn't come with a countdown timer. It doesn't tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, by the way, this is going to be one of the best days of your life. It just happens, and then it passes. A few years ago, I sat with a man in his 90s, sharp as ever, full of stories, wisdom, and regrets. He leaned in and said something that struck me deep. He said, I wish someone told me when I was 30 that life doesn't warn you when the best days are happening. They just come and go, and it's only later that you realize you were in them. Let that sink in for a moment. We're often too distracted to notice joy when it's happening. We're scrolling, comparing, complaining, or waiting. Waiting for what? The right time? The perfect plan? The feeling of being finally ready? Friend, that moment rarely, if ever, comes. Being ready is the lie we tell ourselves to feel safe while we procrastinate the life we were created to live. We think readiness is a door that swings open once we're confident enough. But more often, it's a door we have to walk through trembling, uncertain, and full of faith that hears the truth. Most people you admire, the ones who seem like they have it all together, they didn't wait until they felt ready. They just started, scared, uncertain, risking. And in that very act, they discovered strength they never knew they had. So let me ask you this. What are you waiting for? Are you putting off a dream, a conversation you've been meaning to have, a risk you've been too afraid to take? If you knew how short this life really is, would you still wait? Would you still hold back the words? Would you still bury your calling beneath the comfort of routines? The enemy of a meaningful life isn't failure. It's delay. It's the quiet voice that says, later, not now. You've got time. But time doesn't come with guarantees. It doesn't promise you'll get another chance. And the scariest part? You won't even know when you're living in the good old days until they're gone. That's why Scripture says in Psalm 90 verse 12, teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Wisdom begins when we understand that time is not infinite. It's a gift, a vapor, a breath. So today, don't just exist. Live. Say the words. Take the leap. Answer the call God placed on your heart. And when the fear creeps in, and it will, remind yourself, being afraid doesn't mean you're not ready. It just means you're alive. It means the moment matters. And it's okay to move forward with your fear, as long as you don't let it paralyze you. Because at the end of your life, it won't be the failures that haunt you. It'll be the what-ifs, the dreams untried, the love unspoken, the chances missed because you thought there'd always be more time. Friend, there's no rewind button. There's only now. So breathe in this moment. Look around, and know you're living in a day that you might look back on and call one of the best of your life. Don't let it slip away unnoticed. Let me ask you something that might sting a little. How many times have you said the word later this week? I'll do it later. I'll say it later. I'll start later. Later, the softest and most dangerous lie we whisper to ourselves. It sounds so harmless, right? Like we're just being wise, waiting for the right time. But here's the truth. Later is a thief. It steals joy, connection, purpose, one quiet moment at a time. And before you know it, all those laters pile up into a life that looks nothing like the one you were meant to live. We wait for the job to feel secure. We wait for the relationship to feel perfect. We wait to feel confident, strong, prepared. But here's the thing. That moment of feeling fully ready, it rarely shows up. And the longer we wait for it, the more joy we push into a future that isn't guaranteed. Joy isn't something we should delay until we earn it. Love isn't something to hold back until we feel braver. Your calling, your dream, it's not waiting for a green light. It's waiting for you. Some of the biggest regrets I've heard from people in their 70s, 80s, Even 90s sound like this. I wish I had let myself be happy. I wish I had taken more risks. I wish I hadn't waited so long to live. Let that sink in. They're not mourning their mistakes. They're mourning their silence, their fear, their hesitation, the dreams they buried while waiting for permission to bloom. You don't need someone else to say you're ready. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to begin. Think about this. When was the last time you did something just because it brought you joy? Not because it was productive, not because it was impressive, but because your soul whispered, "This matters." Why is it that we keep putting off our own happiness? Why do we treat joy like a luxury instead of a necessity? Friend, you were not created to live in constant delay. You were not designed to be stuck in almost. You are here, right now, breathing, living, and that means the time to begin is now. Maybe you've got a book in your heart. Maybe there's a phone call you've been avoiding. Maybe there's a business you've been dreaming of starting. Maybe it's as simple as going for a walk, painting again, or forgiving someone who hurt you. Stop waiting. The enemy of a fulfilled life isn't failure. It's inaction. It's looking back and realizing you never gave yourself the chance to begin. Hebrews 12:1 tells us to lay aside every weight and run with endurance the race marked out for us. But you can't run if you're still waiting for the starting whistle. Here's your whistle. This is it. Start now. Imperfectly, awkwardly, faithfully. You won't feel fully ready. You're not supposed to. Because growth happens in the doing, not in the waiting. Peace comes in motion. Clarity comes after commitment. And if you fall, good. That means you're moving. That means you're alive. And I promise, a stumble on the path is better than a life spent staring at the trailhead that is. Oh, here's my invitation to you. Don't wait for perfect. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for later. Give yourself the grace to begin. Give yourself the gift of now. Sometimes people leave, and they don't tell you it's the last time. That there's no farewell speech. No warning. Just a quiet exit. And suddenly, you're standing there, holding on to things you never got to say. And the truth is, we rarely know when the last time will be. The last phone call. The last laugh shared over coffee. The last argument we thought we'd get to finish. We assume there will always be more time. More chances. More someday. But someday isn't a guarantee. And unspoken words, they have a way of haunting the spaces where people used to be. Maybe you've been there. Maybe you still carry that one sentence you never got to say. I forgive you. I was wrong. You mattered more than I let on. I'm sorry I didn't show up when you needed me. Or the simplest of all, I love you. It's strange, isn't it? How easy it is to stay silent. We let fear, or pride, or busyness hold our words hostage. We think we have time. We think there will be another day. But sometimes, there isn't. And the saddest part isn't just that they're gone. It's that our hearts are still full of words they'll never hear. I remember a woman once told me, "My father passed away before I could tell him I forgave him." Now, every Father's Day, I carry that sentence like a stone in my chest. And I wonder how many of us are walking around with stories like that. Hearts full of messages that never found their way out. But friend, here's what I want to gently say to you. You don't have to wait until it's too late. You can speak now, even if it's messy, even if your voice trembles, even if you're not sure how it will be received. There is healing in being honest. There is power in being the one who breaks the silence. Because silence may feel safer, but it doesn't set you free. Truth does. Love does. Forgiveness does. So, who do you need to call today? Who's that person who keeps coming to your mind at random hours of the night? Maybe they wronged you. Maybe you wronged them. Maybe life just pulled you in different directions. And now, the distance feels awkward. But what if, instead of waiting for the perfect moment, you chose this moment? What if your words are the bridge someone else has been praying for? What if your courage to speak is the spark that brings light into a place long covered in shadow? And listen, even if that person is no longer here, you can still speak. Write it out. Say it in prayer. Release it to God. Because sometimes, the words we speak aren't just for others, they're for our own soul's peace. Scripture says, life and death are in the power of the tongue. Proverbs 18 verse 21. And I believe that includes the life of relationships, of healing, of peace. What we say, and what we leave unsaid, can shape the way we carry grief, or hope, or love. So please, don't wait until the funeral. Don't wait until the phone stops ringing. Don't wait until the door never opens again. Say it now. Say it awkwardly. Say it even if your hands shake. Because love, even when it's late, still matters. And words, even imperfect ones, still carry weight. Let's not let fear keep us silent. Let's speak. Let's forgive. Let's reach across the silence and offer what might be the one thing someone else is longing to hear. If there's a kind of grief we rarely talk about. It's not loud. It doesn't come with flowers or condolences. There's no final goodbye, no moment of closure. It just happens, quietly, slowly. It's the grief of drifting apart, not because someone died, but because life got busy, because someone didn't call back, because one small misunderstanding turned into months of silence, because both people were waiting for the other to go first. And just like that, a bond once so strong becomes a memory you scroll past in your mind. Still tender, still sacred, but distant. You ever think about someone you used to talk to every single day? Someone who knew the raw, unfiltered version of you, your dreams, your struggles, your ugly cry, and now you don't even know what's going on in their life anymore. That kind of loss, it stings in a different way. I've felt it too. I've watched friendships that once felt like home dissolve into silence. And the longer the silence lasted, the heavier the pride became. I'm not reaching out. They should. They stopped caring first. They didn't check in when I needed them most. But let me say something hard, something I had to learn the painful way. Pride is a poor companion when you're sitting alone with memories and regret, because when you finally realize what you lost, pride won't hold your hand. It won't rewind time. It won't comfort you at 2 a.m. when you scroll through old photos wondering what went wrong. Pride might win the argument. But love wins the heart. And sometimes, love means making the first move. Even when it's uncomfortable. Even when it feels late. Even when your ego screams, don't. Because silence only grows deeper the longer it goes unbroken. And waiting, hoping the other person will take the first step, is like watching a plant die while holding a full watering can. You know, I've seen reconciliations that began with the simplest of texts. Hey, I've been thinking about you. Or even, I miss this. Can we talk? It doesn't take a grand speech. It just takes one brave moment. Sometimes, people don't walk away because they stopped caring. They drift because no one stopped them. Because neither side wanted to seem desperate. Because we mistook silence for strength. But strength isn't in staying silent. Strength is in reaching across the distance, awkwardly, clumsily, and saying, you matter to me, and I miss what we had. It might not fix everything. It might not restore the relationship to what it once was, but it might begin healing. It might give both hearts a little peace. It might open the door to something new, or at least bring closure to something unfinished. Oh, let me ask you, who's that person in your life? Whose name keeps coming up in your heart, in the quiet moments, in the dreams, in the songs that still remind you of them? What's stopping you? Time, pride, fear, friend? None of those are stronger than love. And if the Holy Spirit has placed them on your heart, that's not an accident. That's an invitation. To forgive, to be bold, to love, again, even if it's messy, even if you cry through the message, even if you just say, I don't know how to say this, but I didn't want another day to go by without reaching out. Because action, even if late, even if imperfect, is better than silence that becomes permanent. And in the end, what you said and what you didn't say will echo far longer than you think. So speak. Reach out. Heal. Let love have the last word. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. No one really knows what they're doing. Not fully. Not completely. Not all the time. You might see people on social media who look like they've got life mastered. The perfect job. The perfect family. The perfect morning routine with their perfectly brewed coffee. But behind every highlight reel is a human being, figuring things out as they go. Most people, even the ones who look successful, put together, and confident, are simply doing the best they can with what they know. They're not certain. They're not always sure. They just keep going. And you know what? That's enough. That we live in a world obsessed with being ready. Ready to start a business. Ready to get married. Ready to chase a dream. But here's the honest truth. Readiness is often a lie we tell ourselves to delay obedience. The people you admire most, the ones who took the leap, launched the project, wrote the book, raised the family, they didn't wait until everything was clear. They acted while it was still blurry. They moved forward when fear whispered, you're not qualified. Because somewhere along the way, they realized, clarity doesn't come before the step. It comes with it. You won't feel fully ready. You won't have all the answers. You won't know if it's going to work, but that doesn't mean you're not called. Sometimes, the most spiritual thing you can do is to move, to take the next step, even if it's shaky, even if you're scared, even if your voice trembles, because God doesn't always hand us a map. Sometimes He just says, go, and trust that as we go, He will guide us. Oh, if you've been waiting for the perfect moment, for more knowledge, for a sign from heaven, this is it. This is your nudge. Not to leap blindly, but to trust that not knowing everything is not the same as being unworthy. You don't have to have it all figured out to start. You just have to be willing. Think about the stories that inspire you. They're never about people who had it all planned. They're about people who got back up, people who risked looking foolish, people who dared to dream in the middle of their doubt. There's a quiet kind of bravery in saying, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to try anyway. That's the kind of faith that moves mountains. That's the kind of obedience that makes heaven lean in. Oh, let me ask you, what are you holding back from? Just because you're not 100% sure, what part of your story is waiting for you to stop stalling and start trusting? You're not behind. You're not lost. You're on the path, the sacred, uncertain, beautiful path of becoming, and you don't walk it alone. The God who called you is faithful to walk beside you. He's not asking you to be perfect. He's asking you to be present, to show up, to take one step, and if you fail, so what? Failure is just part of forward. So breathe. Let go of the lie that everyone else has it all figured out. They don't. You're not broken. You're becoming, and that's more than enough. If you talk to people in the final chapters of their lives, sitting on porches, hospital beds, or in quiet moments of reflection, you'll start to hear a common theme. They don't often say, I wish I hadn't failed. They say, I wish I had tried. Regret, the kind that whispers what if late at night, it doesn't just fade with time. It lingers. It gnaws. It builds a room in your soul and makes itself at home. See, failure passes. You fall, you get up, you learn, you grow. But regret? Regret sinks in like roots. It stays because it's connected not to what happened, but to what never had the chance to. How many dreams have died not because they didn't work, but because they were never given a chance? How many songs were never written? How many businesses never launched? How many I love yous went unsaid because fear got the final say? Let's be honest. We don't avoid action because we don't care. We avoid it because we're scared of failing, scared of being judged, scared we're not good enough, smart enough, strong enough. But friend, fear is not your enemy. It's just a signal. It means this matters to you. And here's something you need to hear. God never called you to a life of comfort. He called you to courage. And sometimes, courage looks like showing up afraid and doing it anyway. Scripture doesn't say, do not fear, unless it makes sense. It says simply, do not fear. Because God knew our biggest regrets wouldn't be the things we tried and failed at, but the things we buried alive in the name of safety. That I want to challenge you gently. What dream are you holding back because of fear? What door are you afraid to knock on? What story are you waiting to tell, but haven't? And what will happen if you don't? No applause, no breakthrough, no failure, just silence. That silence? That's the real danger. Some of the most successful people in the world, people we admire, failed more times than we can count. But they kept showing up, not because they weren't afraid, but because they decided regret would hurt more than failure ever could. You might fall. You might mess up. You might hear no, but at least you'll know. At least you'll never have to look back wondering what could have been if only you had tried to. So today, right now, I'm inviting you, not to be perfect, but to be bold, to take the leap, to make the call, to write the first page, to submit the application, to speak the truth, to try, even if your hands shake, even if your voice cracks, even if you don't feel ready, because one small act of courage today can silence a lifetime of what-ifs tomorrow. Don't let fear keep writing your story. Don't let doubt be the narrator of your life. Let faith speak louder. And if you need a sign, this is it. There's a truth we don't often talk about. Your health is the foundation of everything else in your life. But most of us only recognize that truth when it's almost too late. When we're young, we tend to treat our bodies like they're invincible. We skip meals. We push through sleepless nights. We drown ourselves in stress and call it ambition. We run on caffeine, sugar, and adrenaline, telling ourselves, I'll rest later. But later doesn't always come. And when it does, It often arrives with a diagnosis, a breakdown, a moment when your body whispers, I can't do this anymore. See, your body keeps the score. It remembers what your mind tries to ignore. Every skipped meal, every sleepless night, every time you told yourself it's fine when it wasn't. Your body is not the enemy. It's the vessel carrying you through this life. And when it breaks down, everything else begins to fall with it. Your dreams, your energy, your ability to show up for the people you love. Some of you listening right now, you've been ignoring the signs. You're running on empty, physically, mentally, emotionally. And the worst part? You've gotten so used to it, you think it's normal, but exhaustion is not a badge of honor. Burnout is not a personality trait. And hustling at the expense of your well-being is not strength. It's slow self-destruction. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you slowed down enough to listen to your body? When was the last time you nourished it, moved it, honored it? Not because you were trying to look a certain way, but because you were grateful for the breath in your lungs and the beat in your chest. There's a sacred responsibility in caring for this body you've been given. Not in a vain, surface-level way, but in a holy, reverent way, because how you treat your body reflects how you value your life. And yes, I know life is busy. You've got bills, deadlines, kids, responsibilities. But your body doesn't care about your to-do list. It cares about how you're treating it. And the truth is, you can't give what you don't have. You can't pour into others if your cup is empty. So here's the gentle warning I wish someone had told me earlier. Don't wait until your health is falling apart to start paying attention. Don't wait for the panic attack, the doctor's report, the moment when you realize you traded your peace for productivity. Because that moment, it will come if you don't choose to care for yourself now. Start small. Drink more water. Get outside. Move your body, not to punish it, but to thank it. Turn off the screen an hour earlier. Say no to one more obligation. Say yes to rest. And most importantly, check in with your mind, because mental health is just as vital as physical health. The stress you bury, the anxiety you silence, the pain you ignore, it doesn't disappear. It grows. And eventually, it will find a way to speak through your body, your relationships, your energy. Let God into those places. Invite Him to heal not just your soul, but your mind and your body, too. He cares about your wholeness, every part of you. You were never meant to live in survival mode. You were made to thrive. But thriving starts with honoring this one vessel you've been given. Your body is not a machine. It's not a tool. It's a temple. So treat it like one. Rest is not laziness. It's obedience. Care is not indulgence. It's stewardship. You are worth the time it takes to be well. So before you chase the next goal, before you say yes to one more task, ask yourself, am I taking care of the only body and mind I'll ever have? If the answer is no, start now. You still have time. Not forever, but today. And that's enough. That if you could fast forward to the very last days of your life, those quiet, reflective moments when everything gets still, you'd probably realize something simple but profound. What matters most isn't what you accomplished. It's who you loved. At the end of your story, you won't be thinking about your resume, not your promotions, not the number of emails you answered, not how perfectly curated your online profile looked. And no, what you'll remember is who stood beside you, the friend who showed up when life fell apart, the late-night conversations with someone who really saw you, the arms you held when words ran out, but love didn't. Because meaningful relationships, real, honest, imperfect ones, those are the treasures of this life. But if we're honest, they're also the ones we often neglect. That we get caught in busy, caught in hustle, caught in the lie that success and productivity will satisfy the deep hunger in our souls. So we postpone the phone call. We skip the dinner. We say, I'll check in next week, again and again, until next week becomes never. And then, one day, we look up and realize we've built a life full of achievements, but empty of connection. Friend, your soul wasn't made for accolades. It was made for love, for laughter shared around tables, for conversations that stretch into the night, for the kind of presence that doesn't need to perform, just be. And I know relationships can be hard. They're messy. People disappoint us. We disappoint others. There are misunderstandings, distance, silence that's lasted for years. But even with all the complexity, real connection is still worth it. Reaching out, rebuilding, reopening a conversation that's gone quiet, forgiving when it would be easier to walk away. These are sacred acts. You see, relationships aren't distractions from your real life. They are your real life. Jesus didn't spend his time chasing platforms or recognition. He spent it with people, broken, messy, beautiful people, eating with them, walking beside them, loving them into healing. And we're invited to do the same. So let me ask you, who in your life needs a little more of your heart right now? Who do you miss but haven't told? Who are you quietly carrying hurt from but haven't forgiven? Who have you taken for granted because you thought they'd always be there? This isn't guilt. It's grace. It's a gentle reminder to realign with what really matters. Because no matter how far you've drifted, it's never too late to lean back into love, to send the text, to make the call, to sit face to face, even in silence, and say, "You matter to me." Life is short. People leave. Time slips through our fingers. But the love we give and the love we receive, that's what will echo long after we're gone. So invest in what lasts. Even when it's complicated, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's been a long time. Because at the end of your life, you won't wish you had worked more hours. You'll wish you had loved deeper, stayed longer, and forgiven faster. Let's not wait to realize that. Let's choose people. Today, if there's one thing I hope you take away from everything we've talked about, from the stories, the questions, the quiet reflections, it's this. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until you feel completely ready. Don't wait until you have more time, more money, more clarity, more confidence, because ready is an illusion. And the truth is, most people never feel ready. We think readiness will come like a wave. We'll wake up one day, suddenly fearless and focused. But life doesn't work that way. You won't always feel brave. You won't always feel prepared. But still, you can begin. Some of the most powerful decisions you'll ever make won't happen in moments of certainty, but in moments of courage. Think about it. How many things have you already postponed, waiting for the right time? That conversation, that dream, that healing, that step towards something new. You keep telling yourself, one day. But one day can so easily become no day. Friend, life is shorter than we think. And time is not guaranteed. We don't get to choose how many years we'll have, but we do get to choose how we live today. So let me ask you, what have you been waiting to do because fear told you you're not enough? What part of your heart have you silenced just to keep playing it safe? Maybe it's a relationship you've been too hurt to repair. Maybe it's a calling you've been too afraid to answer. Maybe it's joy you've forgotten how to let in. Whatever it is, don't keep waiting for a perfect plan. God rarely gives us full blueprints. He gives us a next step, and that step, it might be small. It might feel shaky, but it matters because your future isn't built on tomorrow's flawless execution. It's built on today's brave decision. So take it. Reach out. Try again. Start writing. Open your heart. Say yes. Say no. Say I love you. Even if your voice shakes. Even if your hands tremble. Even if you're still figuring it out as you go. Because what's most precious in life often slips through our fingers. Not because we failed, but because we hesitated. And I get it. You're human. You're carrying wounds. You've been disappointed before. But that doesn't mean you stop showing up. It means you trust that grace is big enough to catch you. Even if you fall, God is not looking for perfection. He's looking for willingness. And if all you have is a mustard seed of faith, that's enough to move a mountain. So don't wait for the moment to feel magical. Make this moment meaningful by choosing it, by stepping in, by saying yes while you still can. Your life is now, not after the next promotion, not when the kids grow up, not when you feel more spiritual or more worthy or more healed. Right now is holy ground. Right now is your moment. So start. Begin. Move forward in love, in hope, in faith. Don't let the most precious parts of your life go unlived. Just because you were waiting for the perfect time. This is the time. If this video helped you, let it echo. Like, share, subscribe for more insights, and keep building your inner power.